Guys, 2024 has been crazy already. There's been fucking aliens, cancer cure and shit. But the biggest sin of all that I can say happened this year was I made a bad review. I had a bad take. I know. But it's true. My take for the finals was dog shit. So what better to start the year than play a better game? I thought, well, today I decided to play Payday 3. And Jesus Christ, it's a game. In this video, I'm going to be going over why this game is one of the most mediocre games I've ever played. In fact, borderline awful. So let's get into it. This is everything about Payday 3 and why it literally made me cry. But before we talk about Payday 3, why don't we just start from the beginning with Payday the Heist. Payday the Heist is a cooperative FPS game developed by Overkill Software and published by Sony Online Entertainment. It was designed by Ulf Andersson and composed its music from Simon Wiklund, who would later do Payday 2. It was released on October 18th, 2011 in North America for PlayStation 3 and November 2nd in Europe. The game contains 7 different missions, including the free No Mercy downloadable content pack, which released on the 25th of July, 2012, which, if you don't know this mission on Payday 2, man, or any Payday game, you're missing out. This is a great mission. With each mission containing random elements which alter the gameplay in subtle ways with the aim of enhancing replayability. The gameplay of Payday the Heist is simple. In Payday the Heist, players must use a variety of firearms to complete objectives. Heists, stealing certain people. Yeah, you steal people in this. Let that sink in. You steal fucking people. Regardless, you steal a particular amount of money, people, or objects. The game plays from a first-person perspective, but there's other twists on the FPS formula. You ever played GTA and just shoot somebody because you're like, God, I just hate that guy. He doesn't mean doing anything, but you know what? I just hate him. Can't do it in this. Killing civilians is punished. Instead, players may take a limited amount of hostages, as one does. I do that all the time. And should any player get into custody, i.e. dying, they may be able to be traded for a hostage. The game focuses on 4 robbers, Dallas, Hoxton, Chains, and Wolf, or the Payday Gang, who team up and plan their first heist at the World Bank, where they enter a vault using thermite hidden inside of a photocopier. This game is great and is the key part of my points. This is the basis. By October 2012, Payday the Heist had sold over 700,000 units. But more on Payday 2. The original version of the game for PlayStation 3, Xbox, and PC released on the 13th of August 2013, with the later ports coming out on June 2015 and the Nintendo Switch port coming in February 2018. There are 7 versions of this game. 7! And only 3 of them really count. Well, no, 4. Yeah, 4 of them really count. That's the Xbox One, Linux, Nintendo Switch, PlayStation 4, and Windows. That's actually 5. I can't fucking count. But you get the point. This game was set 2 years after the events of the previous game, and with the Payday Gang going to Washington, D.C., specifically in the metropolitan area, to perform another heisting spree. The player can take control of one of the gang's 22 members! Yeah, there's 22 members in this game. Keep in mind, Payday the Heist had 4. This game has 22. And the DLCs, oh man, the DLCs were so good. Yeah, you could play as fucking John Wick. You could play as Jacket. You could play as really anybody. This game had the same type of gameplay, but with a larger variety of missions. See, the missions in this game are portrayed as this: CrimeNet, where missions pop up periodically as contracts in the map of Washington, D.C. The player can pick an open contract, join a contract another player started, or buy a contract with in-game money in an offshore bank account. There are 7 difficulty levels: normal, hard, very hard, overkill, mayhem, death wish, and death sentence, with increased money and experience payouts for higher difficulty levels. Some contracts in Payday 2 can take place over multiple days, which each day represented by a separate level with objectives. Every level was different, and it was a breath of fresh air for the series. This also introduced stealth. Yes! See, many jobs in Payday 2 can be completed in stealth. If the player avoids getting caught on camera, evade, or silently kill security guards, while keeping in mind that you can't kill more than 4 guards because apparently the guard is just like a schizo and he's really paranoid about him dropping pagers, and keep any civilian witnesses from calling the police, the alarm will not be raised and the players can receive an experience bonus of 10%. Otherwise, players will have to achieve their objectives, carry out any loot they find to a drop-off point, and reach their escape point under the pressure of constant police assault waves. Basically the first game but on crack. And the enemies in this game that got introduced are amazing. See, every single police force, they just have like SWAT, FBI, DEA, cops, just different departments. In this game, they have the goddamn like Navy SEAL Special Forces type shit. It also introduced, its only boss, Captain Winters, a well-protected veteran police officer who sustains assaults and buffs enemies until he can be driven off. And the heists in this game, while I would love to talk about each heist in detail, the list of heists in this game is insane. It is insane. This was the type of game that you wanted to play when you just want to play with your friends and have a good time. Believe it or not, Payday 2 is Overkill's first game to have a boxed retail release, and the director of Payday 2 has stated that Payday 2 has just become too big to reserve release on Xbox Live or PlayStation Network alone. Reports of strong sales in the first week and shortages led to 505 Games to work with retailers in distributing more copies of the game. This game sold like fire! And the game was distributed through the PlayStation Network, Xbox Live, and Steam services as planned. The game was profitable from pre-orders from the beginning, covering all the money invested by the publisher, and as of January 2023, this game alone has sold over 40 million copies. What the fuck? 40 million. Let that set in. This game sold over, let's do the math here. Well, you got 40 million, and then Payday the Heist only sold 700,000. This game sold like amazing. This game sold extremely well. And people were wondering, when's the next game gonna come out? Well, they didn't really talk about it for 3 years until I remember it like I was there yesterday. I was on Twitter, being chronically online. And I noticed that Starbreeze tweeted out that in May 2016 that Payday 3 was in development at Overkill Software after Starbreeze acquired the rights to the intellectual property from 505 for around $30 million. That's all this game was worth, $30 million. Originally in March 2021, Pliable committed to pay £50 million to assist in the game's development and marketing, including more than 18 months of post-launch support using the games as a service model. Payday 3 was developed using the Unreal Engine 4, but will be upgraded to use Unreal Engine 5 post-launch. It was released on the 21st of September 2023 and had one beta, with a closed beta as well. It received mixed reviews and failed to meet expectations from the sales group. It was on PlayStation 5, Windows, and Xbox Series X. Now we can talk about the game. Oh boy, let's talk about it. But I can't just complain about Payday 3 on its own. That wouldn't make any sense. You gotta be more formatted with it. So instead of me ranting in front of my mic for half an hour about stuff that doesn't make any sense, i.e. me last video, I'm gonna be talking about a few key bullet points in this video. The first one is gonna be about gameplay. The second one will be design, game mechanics. There's going to be a segment on something that I personally disagree with, and that is the use of AI art. We're going to talk about the gimmicks of the game as well as gadgets, and then my personal thoughts at the end. So let's get into it straight away with the gameplay of Payday 3. So first off, Payday is a series that I personally have been playing since 2017. I absolutely love Payday 2, and Payday the Heist, I guess. It's okay. Payday the Heist is just fine. But the point of the game is that you're a thief. You're a part of a crime syndicate known as the Payday Gang. In this game, it's the same thing, but you go to New York, Cue New York, that song, I guess. But anyway, the gameplay is self-explanatory. You have a list of missions that are heists that you have to steal money and sell valuables to get more items to purchase, masks, suits, and weapons. It's a very simple concept. That's what I loved about Payday. It takes real-life locations, and you play the role as a criminal instead of somebody stopping, a criminal. The gameplay of Payday 3 is mainly tech-based, with you using gadgets and other knickknacks to progress you through the level, such as key cards, QR codes, and a whole lot of other stuff. But we'll get into the QR codes later and all the gadgets, because those play an important part in the gimmicks section. That's pretty much the gameplay. You have rounding waves of cops that go from really easy to really hard. You have over 4 game modes that progress in difficulty with its enemies that appear and how strong they are. Overall, the gameplay itself on paper is great, or so I thought. See, the gameplay of Payday 3 is a more modernized version of Payday 2, with sliding mechanics, mantling mechanics, and a whole list of other stuff. Payday 3, in its gameplay, is monotonous. First off, the levels. Oh god, the levels. Unlike Payday 2, where I felt like the levels were good, this game has a very, very, very unhealthy way of directing the player through its levels. Most of the game, I kid you not, is just sitting around. That's the main gameplay gimmick. You sit around and you do these little Wi-Fi missions where you have to stand in a circle and wait for it to go. These take away half of the action in the gameplay. It's not a fun gameplay mechanic. But there's other mechanics that are actually kind of good, like the revamped hostage system. Let's go with Payday 2 here. Payday 2 had the most basic hostages. They were like lemmings. Just pick them up, put them in a direction, and they'll walk in that direction. Or they'll just sit there. In Payday 3, you have full access to use the civilians however you would like, trading them to negotiate time, resources, or even use them as human shields if you feel like being really quirky. But that doesn't shy away from the fact that the AI in this game, in its entirety, affects the gameplay. Whether it be the cops' AI or the teammates' AI, they never seem to program it right. With Payday 2, it was very simple AI. I mean, that's all I could say. It worked. But with Payday 3, it barely works. And not in a good way, not a goofy way, not a silly way. This game tries to be silly, tries to be funny, but then it tries to be serious, but its AI is all dog shit, so it makes it just unplayable. You ever just go down in Payday 2 and you get revived by, like, I don't know, Houston, and you're like, oh, thank you, Houston, you saved my life. How can I ever repay you? And he goes, you know, a medic bag, or he just shouts in your face like you're in an argument. No, none of that anymore. Instead, the AI will just look at you like they don't know what they're doing, or they're a lost kid in Walmart. That's pretty much everything about the gameplay. Oh wait, the guns. The guns in this game feel like they're Nerf guns, and I mean that 100%. The guns in this game are weightless. It feels like I'm shooting just paper bullets at people, and they just don't have any weight to how they fire, how they act. There's not even that large variety of guns, and I know that could just be a me issue, but these guns don't feel like guns. See, good gunplay in a game like this is essential. Payday 2 had guns that were heavy, breaking, and just awesome to use. They had power. You could feel it in your hands. You could feel it in your elbows. But in this game, it just kind of feels like I'm shooting Nerf guns at a toddler's birthday party before the cake comes out. But instead, I'm just shooting cops as I rob a multi-million-dollar bank. Not to mention that the maps are all just going back and forth, but I'm thinking I'm repeating myself at this point. Every map in this game is a chore to play. That's all the negative things I had about the gameplay. The guns feel weightless, the maps are boring, there's too many boring mechanics of you just sitting around just waiting for a Wi-Fi signal to download. This game is just a huge fucking chore. Oh, actually wait, I forgot about the overkill system. The overkill weapon system is like a ultimate in any other video game. That is all I can say about it. You kill enemies, you get it charged up, and you can call in your overkill weapon. There's only two in the entire game, and one of them is a grenade launcher, the other one is the anti-material rifle. Which one of these is better? Well, it'll be the grenade launcher. But enough about the gameplay. Let's talk about the design, where I actually have some things positive to say about it. Payday 3 takes place in... where does it take place? Oh, hell yeah, New York. It takes place in New York. And the design of this city in the game is perfect. I've never wanted to go into New York in my life, whether it be the rats, the people, the snobs, the multi-million-dollar banks, Wall Street. All the heists are uniquely and utterly beautiful with this design. Whether you're going to rob a small-time bank or go to a neon nightclub, every map in this game feels like it has its place. Payday 3 is a more technologically advanced game, and it clearly shows. There's no more ATMs, there's a lot of like control panels, QR code scanners, all these fit in with the aesthetic that they're going for. So they did a really good job with that. It's hard to nail down a game's aesthetic, but Payday 3 knew what they was doing and decided to go for more of an urban technological aesthetic, and I dig it 100%. And on the topic of design and what they got right, the enemies are amazingly designed, both functionally and, well, visually. I mean, look at this cloaker, and look at the cloaker from Payday 2. Which one would you rather have go to your party? That's what I thought. It's this one. And oh man, don't even get me started on the dozer. It looks so cool. And I'll be damned, the masks in this game look fucking phenomenal. See, this game launched in September and it's January by now, but man, they added a lot of masks on launch. And they all look really good. Hell, they did a really good job design-wise, especially with how the maps are laid out, except for one map. You see, I will go on record. You can crucify me. I put my hand on my heart, my hand on my fucking Bible that I totally have, and I will say this. The art gallery is the worst mission in this entire game. The design of this level is fucking dreadful. Every single area looks the exact same. Whether it be you're on the office side, it looks the exact same. Whether you're in another exhibit, it looks the exact same. And this is the bad part. I spent 3 to 2 hours on this map with my editor. Asp, We made it through hell with that map. We spent 2 hours looking for a safe in the wall, only for it to be hidden. And apparently people have had this issue before. But regardless, the level design is generally pretty good. And the fucking enemy design makes me come. Oh my god, it's good. I'm going to talk about one thing that I wanted to talk about in the past on Believe It or Not, the Ready or Not video. And that's AI art. I didn't even notice there was AI art in this game. But look at this. Look, it's blatantly obvious that they use AI art in this game, and it's fucking crazy how bad it is. You have those people in the market talking about how AI art is perfect. AI art looks like if I drew it, and I'm a terrible artist. Believe me, there's nothing more that I would want to do than be lazy with my art. But with a game like this, in fact any game at all, AI art should not be the cornerstone of your art design. It should instead help the artist instead of depending on it. You should coerce it to, I don't know, maybe upscale the resolution, maybe like, I don't know, add some shading, not just, hey, draw me a picture of somebody. No, instead it should just be here to support the artist. Instead, in this game, it's used for actual loot in the game, and it's entirely obvious. And that's an opinion, I know, but AI art does not need to be in a game like this. It just does not. So, I know, let's wrap this funeral up here about why this is a dog shit game, and let's talk about probably the most annoying parts of the game mechanics. Let's talk about it. Welcome back to another edition of Baloney Bitches About Something. Today's topic, game mechanics of Payday 3. I can't put up this shit. I can't put up with this voice. Alright, so the game mechanics of Payday 3 are some of the worst I've ever seen in a Payday game, or a Payday style game. I'm just gonna sum it up with this sentence, and excuse me if I'm loud, but Wi-Fi! So much Wi-Fi! You ever just like borrow your friend's hotspot? That's what you do entirely in this game. You just go to these little hotspots around the map to open up the map. You know what's annoying also? Every mechanic in this game, the QR code mechanic, dumb. I'm just saying it right now. There has been nothing more frustrating than me going around the entire map and collecting these fucking QR codes from people who leave their phones with their dirty little handprints on it, and they got like fucking grease on it, and I have to search it for their QR code, and I only get one? Why can't I reuse it? And not to mention, why do I have to search around for these small objects that sometimes have outlines but sometimes don't, and they're necessary to unlock the map, and the maps, while being good designed, are way too big. I've never seen a more confusing map than this. This is awful. I don't even know how to describe it. The QR code system isn't the only bad option though. Like I said, Wi-Fi. Oh boy. You ever just wanted to sit in one spot? No? It breaks up the gameplay flow and makes the game a slug? Well, too bad. Sit in front of this area to progress the mission. There's literally half of the missions in this game. It just involves you being carted along with you having to hack these things by sitting in one place. Do you have a largely unique hacking minigame like BioShock or BioShock 2? Or do you, I don't know, do you like go down into the game and like do a minigame to hack it? No, you just sit in this one spot, wait for this fucking thing to fill up around you, and that's it. And it's not even fun. It breaks up the gameplay and is tedious. If that's your kind of thing, man, I mean, maybe you should just go play like Cookie Clicker. Not a bad game, but this is an entirely different game from Payday 2. This game made me want to cry just because of how tedious it is to go back and forth and just wait. Half of this game is waiting. I'm pretty sure you can cure insomnia with this game. I'm not sure how it can be done, but you could definitely cure insomnia with this game. It's generally regarded that this game is pretty boring and kind of pointless. I mean, literally, what is half the stuff I'm doing? This game has a terrible issue with its game mechanics. And not even to mention some of the other mechanics in the game, like, I don't know, the lobby, it asking you 3 different things at the start of the game if you want to opt into fucking services, you having to create another account just to play the fucking game, or how about forced online at launch? See, I was told to talk about the launch of this game by a friend, and I would, but it's just the game. Literally, this game never improved with how fucking boring it is. Oh my god, just read a book! But regardless, it's just not fun. And the thing that asks you to opt in is for marketing. Why the hell do I have to opt in for this? There's been a lot of controversy with its anti-cheat, and they had to get rid of it at one point, but that's pretty much everything about the game mechanics I had to say. Let's talk about the last thing on my list here. The gimmicks and gadgets. I'm just kidding. The gimmicks part, we already talked about that. You don't want to hear me talk about that again. Instead, let's talk about my personal thoughts when I think about the game. Payday 3 is the not good successor. I know it was poorly worded. Payday 3 makes me upset. Payday 3 was one of the games I was hyped for when I played it at beta. It was one of the games I knew when I looked at it. I said, this game wouldn't be too good. And I was right. It feels like the devs didn't want to make this game. It feels like they were forced to. It doesn't feel like they intended this game to pop off. It didn't, so I guess they had that, but it just feels like they don't care. Why make a game that you don't want to make? That's how it feels. With Payday 2, while it was clunky and not very fun, it had content, and it's just a better game. You know, how is a game from 2012 a better game than your 2023 release? That's the question I ask. What happened? Well, for one, they switched devs. Fuck you, Starbreeze. But it's also just the tone of the game that is just so jarring. It's more technology based, which is cool on paper, but it just makes the game feel bland, and none of the missions use that technology in a fun or innovative way that makes the player engaged. Instead, it just sit in one spot, the game. It just doesn't feel right. With Payday 2, it was a more goofy game. It was a more parody styled game with crossover events up the ass and heists that were questionable, but they were all a great time. Whether you were playing with your friends or having a heist alone, all of the heists felt like they had something unique. Whether it was a needed gimmick, a necessary one, or just a fun one. Payday 3 lacks that in every direction, and I feel like this game is going off of a cliff that it can't possibly recover from. I've been a fan of Payday since, well, the beginning, and I've never been so disappointed in a game in my life. I don't think this game will get better. The amount of monotonous, tedious, most mind-numbing gameplay I've ever had to play in a game came from this game, from a series that I respect the hell out of. And, like, that's it. Sure, there's skill trees, but the skill trees are so monotonous and you can only fit 4 skills. You have to research them? What the hell is this? It's just not a good game. Feels like the devs don't want this game to succeed. They're lazy, they're unfocused, misdirected, and most importantly, they don't want to make the game. That's all I had to say about this game. This game was just an idea in my head that I should try out, and it ended up being on my shit list. But thanks for watching. Join our Discord server below, and